Hey, well, tonight I'm angry at the Holocaust Center, specifically in this case, the Holocaust Memorial Resource and Education Center of Florida. And the reason that I'm angry with them is because they have just put on an exhibit that's called Uprooting Prejudice, Faces of Change. This exhibit has nothing at all to do with the Holocaust. The Holocaust was an event that took place during the Second World War, wherein a lot of people, millions of people, were killed by the Nazis. A lot of Jewish people were killed, a lot of Russians were killed, gypsies were killed, trade unionists were killed. But in this country, it's primarily the Jewish people who have raised the funds to commemorate this disaster. And these are called Holocaust museums, designed to make sure that this type of genocide can never happen again. And because we live in a day today where virtue signaling is of paramount importance, a photographer by the name of John Noltner has taken photographs. I think there are 45 photographs in this case, and they represent people's reactions to hearing about George Floyd's death. Now, there is a lot of dispute about George Floyd, whether he was a good guy or bad guy. I don't care. I'm not going to delve into that issue at all. The only thing I'm talking about is the fact that the message of the Holocaust Museum is being diluted, and it's being done in the name of virtue signaling. The person who's apparently to blame is named Lisa Bachman, who is quite proud of the decision for the Holocaust Museum to host this exhibit. This exhibit has nothing whatsoever to do with the Holocaust. It has to do with social justice here in America, and we have no idea if the police were indeed responsible for George Floyd's death. Initially, it appeared that they were. Now, subsequently, it turns out he had a lot of fentanyl in his system. Maybe he would have died anyway. I don't know. I'm not sure if you know. Only the pathologists and medical experts would know at this point. But the fact is that there are questions about George Floyd's death that are very different from the issues raised by the Holocaust. The Holocaust was a very simple and straightforward issue. Jews were systematically exterminated. That is nothing like what is happening in this country. I don't care how violent the police are with black people. They are certainly not exterminating them. As a matter of fact, more unarmed white men are killed by the police than unarmed black men. Therefore, it only dilutes the issue when everything gets focused on the way that the police interact with black men. You know, we did a show some months ago on this channel where we talked about a guy who was shot dead. His name was Daniel Shavers, I think it was in Phoenix. A white guy on his knees begging for his life in a motel was shot dead by a policeman. Two white men, the victim and the perpetrator, both white men. Where's the justice for that guy? You know, I have nothing against the greater sentiment of the Holocaust representing mistreatment of people, but I do have issues with the central message being hijacked. The Holocaust Museum represents the Holocaust. It is designed to remind us that genocide should never be tolerated. It has nothing to do with the social issues that we face today. It's only diluting that message when we allow all these other issues to share equal billing with that of the Holocaust. I have no idea how donations are going to be going for this museum going forward. I would imagine that the majority of the donations came from Jewish people previously. Maybe it will come from black people now. I don't know. But I certainly would expect that to some extent, Jewish people will turn their back on this resource center now. It is not representing affronts and injuries to Jewish people. It is representing our own internal social turmoil today. The dilution of the Holocaust message with this virtuous social signaling exhibit based on George Floyd's death is unconscionable. The Holocaust happened less than 100 years ago. We are already diluting its message. Maybe in 150 years, we will have forgotten the message altogether. Please, let's wake up.